Good morning, everyone. Chào quý vị. The chant we're practicing is originated from the Chinese. I learned from my late Chinese master, Venerable Shen Huan, whose picture is right here, right behind me. Cái thiền tông chúng ta tu đó là xuất gốc từ nước Tàu, Trung Hoa, do ngài ân sư của thầy, ngài Tiến Hóa truyền đem qua xứ Mỹ này. He's brought it to the States about in the 60s. But so I learned all my chant knowledge. The basis of my chant knowledge was from him. He's a very, very interesting way of teaching chant. Thầy học cái thiền, cái kỹ thuật thiền thầy từ ngài Tiến Hóa ra, ngài dạy rất là đặc biệt. Very unusual kind of practice. It's more rigorous than most chant teachers, most meditation teachers, as you will. Cái cách dạy của ngài nó khó, nó gắt gao hơn theo thầy biết tất cả những người thầy khác. Okay. For example, he says, endure the leg pains. No one teaches that. Chẳng hạn như ngài nói là phải ngồi nhận cái đau của cái chân. Okay. And I didn't learn much from him because I came a little bit later towards the end of his career, teaching career. So I only learned through his books and a few meetings, a few encounters with him. Thầy tới với ngài Tiến Hóa hơi trễ một tí, lúc ngài sắp đi rồi, sắp nhập niết bàn. Thành ra chỉ đọc nghiên cứu nhờ sách của ngài với nhờ một vài lần mà được ngài đích thân dạy thôi. And so I was telling someone, I was teaching someone chant this week. Ngày nay tuần này thầy mới dạy một người đó về cái thiền. Our techniques of chant meditation, and I am teaching you the same thing. Sit there and bear the leg pains. Thầy dạy cũng chừng nữa thôi, là quý vị ngồi đó mà nhận cái đau. Okay? If you prepare to do that, which I did, I find it challenging personally to find a way to overcome the personal objection, personal reluctance, abhorrence of pain. I don't know about you, but I hate pain. Thầy thấy cái sự thử thách khó khăn ở chỗ là dám ngồi đó mà nhận cái đau. It's a very difficult thing to do when you think about it, especially our Western culture, where it's self-indulgence, where we do things to please ourselves. Here comes along a monk who says, if you want to really get what you want, you have to stop self-indulging. And the one form of practice of really training yourself to be not self-indulgent is to sit there and endure the leg pains. Đây là một cái vị thầy mà dạy rất là lạ. Cái văn hóa của xứ Tây Phương này là mình tự nuông chiều lấy, mình làm cho cái điều mình muốn, mình thích muốn thôi. Thì ông thầy này ông dạy nó những cái mà chúng ta muốn có quan trọng trong cuộc đời này là phải bắt đầu bằng cách là nhận cái mình không chịu làm, mình không muốn, nhận cái đau chân. Okay? And that's consistent with the first chant teacher who came from India, who brought chant from India to China, Venerable Bodhidharma. Thì cái pháp đó nó cùng một cái tư tưởng, một cái khuynh hướng và cái pháp mà ngài Bồ Đề Đạt Ma đã đem tới từ cái thiền tông từ Ấn Độ tới Trung Hoa. He is a Venerable Bodhidharma whose a statue we have here finally. We finally were able to get a Bodhidharma statue. Chùa chúng ta may mắn cuối cùng mới được thỉnh một cái tượng ngài Bồ Đề Đạt Ma về. It's a block of wood carved in Vietnam, and it's very, very heavy. Khắc tạc bằng gỗ từ bên Việt Nam qua. And he taught exactly the same principle. Ngài cũng dạy chừng đó thôi. What did he do? He came to China and sat at the Shaolin Temple for 9 years, facing the wall. Thì ngài đem cái pháp thiền tông từ Ấn Độ qua nước Trung Hoa tới cái chùa Thiếu Lâm, ngồi xoay mặt vào tường 9 năm trời, 9 years. We asked you to sit and endure your leg pains for 1 hour and you're grinning. You say, oh, it's too much, I can't take it. Here he was, bringing the technique from India to China, and he did do it himself, 9 years, sitting, facing the wall. And his successor was right behind him. Rồi cái người truyền nhân của ngài Bồ Đề Đạt Ma là ngài Huệ Khả, là cũng ngồi ngay sau lưng ngài. Okay. And through your willingness to endure the leg pains, which I did, you're able to get what you want. I was able to get what I wanted. Thầy cũng theo phương pháp như vậy, ngồi nhận cái đau mà đắc được, mà đạt được, mà tìm được những cái mình muốn. Okay. So for you who practice chant, okay, thành những người mà muốn học thiền, I was able to teach a lot of people personally when I first started. Lúc thầy bắt đầu dạy để có thầy đã huấn luyện rất nhiều người. And the important thing about learning chant is that you have to be clear about what you're looking for. What is your goal? Okay. Thì cái cách luyện thiền, cái việc phải rõ ràng, phải hiểu là mình cần rõ ràng mình muốn tìm cái gì. If you're clear about your goals, chant is a self-training technique. It will help you get that, bring you there gradually. Sẽ đem tới khi kỹ thuật thiền tông sẽ đem cái vị tới cái chỗ đó. Okay. So now I have a lot of more trainees, more left home people here. Bây giờ chùa chúng ta có nhiều người xuất gia, and I hope to be able. I hope that they stick around long enough. I hope that the leg pain don't scare them away. Tôi hy vọng những người xuất gia này không vì cái chân đau mà sợ mà bỏ chạy hết. Okay. Because their chant training is more intensive than yours. Our chant practice is a lot more rigorous, a lot more demanding than what we teach to you lay people. Cái kỹ thuật thiền tông huấn luyện ở chùa chúng ta nó rất là gắt gao. And I'm hoping that through that process they're able to understand chant quicker, okay, and more. Mình hy vọng nhờ cái chương trình huấn luyện như vậy họ sẽ hiểu cái thiền tông nó nhiều hơn. Because chant is the basis of our Buddhist practice. Tại vì thiền tông là cái rường cột của cái phương pháp tu luyện chúng ta. In the process, I hope that I will help train them to help you, to help teach you chant. Thì hy vọng sẽ giúp họ dạy cái vị thiền. Okay. So from now on, we will when the people who want to learn chant, we'll assign a left home person to guide you along, to assist you in your practice and so that you can steadily make progress. Thì chúng tôi sẽ bắt đầu cho những cái người xuất gia này họ đích thân hướng dẫn quý vị. And if so, I will guide them how to help you train in chant and teach you through them. Okay, so if you're interested, there are some people who only want to come here and meditate. That's fine too. It's perfectly okay. Có những người chỉ muốn tới đây ngồi thiền, không muốn nói, không muốn làm theo ý mình, chỉ muốn làm theo ý mình thôi, thì quý vị tự nhiên, không sao hết. I feel I was lucky because my Chan practice, I was under the guidance of many good teachers. Thầy may mắn được nhiều cái vị thầy giỏi hướng dẫn cho. And I realized that if you have the proper guidance, you get there quicker. You won't give up. Tại vì thầy thấy rằng, hiểu rằng muốn đạt được cái mục đích của mình thì quan trọng nhất là đừng có bỏ cuộc. In order for you to get there, the most important rule is not to give up. Okay? It's that simple. You keep progressing along, day by day, day by day. Every single time, then you get there. Thì cứ tiếp tục đi, từ từ sẽ đến đó. Okay? The difference between the Chan of the Patriarchs, Venerable Bodhidharma, Venerable Shen Hoa, cái khác biệt giữa cái thiền tông mà các tổ sư dạy qua ngài Bồ Đề Đạt Ma hoặc là ngài Tuyên Hóa is quite different from the meditation that most people teach out there. Nó khác ở cái phương pháp thiền của những cái người khác dạy ngoài kia. Okay. For example, if you learn the non-Buddhist meditation, chẳng hạn như quý vị luyện cái phương pháp thiền mà không phải của Phật giáo. Okay. There's plenty of them. Có nhiều phương pháp. They are called, what are they? You don't know? You don't know. No one knows. Of course, you heard of them before. You didn't realize they were meditation techniques, that's all. Như quý vị đã nghe những cái phương pháp luyện thiền khác rồi, mà quý vị không biết đó là phương pháp luyện thiền thôi. Yes, what are they? Qigong. Right? That's one. That's one form of meditation. They use the qi flow to manipulate qis. That's a form of meditation. Okay? Qigong là cách luyện khí. You heard in Chinese people, you heard of the Taoist people. Người Á Châu thì nghe tới cái phương pháp luyện của Đạo giáo, right? The Taoists, they're very good meditators, by the way. Okay? Đạo giáo họ thiền rất là giỏi. Okay? When you practice the Taoist meditation, they show you techniques that will give you certain abilities, certain skills, certain advantages. Quý vị luyện thiền đạo giáo chẳng hạn, họ có những phương pháp để cho quý vị có những cái kỹ thuật đặc biệt. Because the Taoists are very, very skilled in martial arts and herbal medicine. Okay? Tại đạo giáo người ta giỏi về cái võ thuật và về cái thuốc. They can heal. Okay? So the Qigong, we're going back to the Qigong people. The Qigong also, when we practice Qigong, they provide healing for you as well. Cũng giống như Qigong, người ta có nhiều cái phương pháp để mà chữa bệnh. How about Tai Chi? Tai Chi in a form of non-Buddhist meditation. Một phương pháp khác là Tai Chi. Okay? It's the same. It's based on the principles of meditation. Những phương pháp đó đều dựa trên những cái kỹ thuật thiền cả. Okay? Again, they show you the ability through martial arts to increase your concentration and improve your health, increase your strength. Okay? And control your body and your mind. Thành qua cái kỹ thuật Tai Chi, họ dạy quý vị cách rèn luyện cái cơ thể và khiến cái tinh thần nó khỏe hơn và cơ thể nó khỏe hơn. Okay? And so on. So what happened is that these non-Buddhist meditation, what is the same common denominator, những phương pháp thiền ở ngoài đạo, ở ngoài Phật giáo, thì họ có một cái sự chung là chỗ nào? What is it? Yes. Externalist, yes, that's correct. What is it? What do they have in common?
Master, if it's non-Buddhist, it's not non-Buddhist principles. They don't have Buddhist principles at all.
They do. They are based on Buddhist principles, but they don't quite go far enough. Okay. Ngoại đạo là họ cũng theo cái kỹ thuật không hơn Phật giáo, nhưng họ chưa hiểu được cái sự sâu xa, được sâu xa thôi. Yes. What is the common denominator? Yes. Hiền trị. He says they see their self. They see their self. Yeah, that's correct. I mean, these Buddhist guys, they are too technical. Đúng, this is the right answer. There's still self there. That's correct. But that's not what I'm looking for. Yes? Anyone else? Yes?
Control the mind.
Control the mind. Yes. The practice, all these practice will help you have increased control of your mind. Yes. Stroke the ego. That's correct. Here's the problem. Here's the common denominator with all these non-Buddhist practices. Những cái phương pháp ngoài đạo nó giống nhau thế này. Okay? They're based on greed. Nó đều dựa trong lòng tham của quý vị. Okay? There is an ego who's still greedy. Okay? Nó vẫn còn cái ngã mà vẫn còn có tham lam ở trong. Okay? So the main attraction for most people is that they stoke your greed, stoke your ego, that fire in you. You want more. You're greedy for more. You greedy for. You want the practices will not diminish the ego. It will increase it. Makes you become more slave to your ego. Okay? Whereas the Buddhist practices, we start with that as well. We say, yeah, we're so cool. We're just as cool as well. But we go a lot further, okay? By diminishing the ego. And therefore, what you have to realize is that the reason that the Buddhist practices will help you progress quicker is because it's quicker at diminishing the ego, not increasing it. If you increase your ego, your rate of progress is slower than diminishing your ego. Why is that? Cái sự khác biệt giữa phương pháp thiền ngoại đạo với phương pháp Phật giáo ở chỗ là họ vẫn dựa trên cái lòng tham, vẫn dựa trên nuôi dưỡng cái bản ngã của mình. Có bản ngã nó mới tham được. Okay. Thì thầy nói bên Phật giáo mình cái sự tiến bộ qua thiền tông mình nó lẹ hơn bên tiến bộ ngoại đạo. Thực sự nó rất là lẹ. Tại sao? Tại vì nó bớt cái ngã, bớt cái lòng tham thì tiến bộ nó lẹ hơn. Cái lòng tham nó làm mình chậm lại. Yes? How do you make progress? Là sao mình tiến bộ được? You can look at making progress, if you will, as moving forward, right? You're progressing towards your goal. Tiến bộ tức là quý vị đang tiến tới cái mục tiêu của mình. Whatever your goal is. You want to get closer and closer and closer to your goal, right? What does it take to get closer to your goal? Okay. Muốn tới cái mục tiêu, mình tới gần mục tiêu, mình cần làm cái gì? You need to let go of the things that are holding you back and prevent you from progressing forward, right? That's the basis of making progress. You have to let go of things that are holding you back. Cái tiến bộ, cái căn bản tiến bộ là phải bỏ, sẵn sàng bỏ cái mà nó giữ mình lại. For example, you teach children. Càng dạy con nít. Okay? Let's talk about teaching children. If you want them to learn, right, more things that are important to them. Chẳng hạn như quý vị muốn dạy con nít mà dạy nó những cái điều hiểu biết nó cần thiết cho cuộc đời nó. Okay? What do you do? You tell them you cannot play. Instead of playing one more hour during the day, you have to spend more time doing homework, right? Thì quý vị dạy sao? Nói là thay vì cho nó chơi 1 tiếng đồng hồ, thì mình bỏ 1 tiếng đồng hồ chơi nó, bắt nó làm bài, học bài. Isn't that letting go right there of the things that they want to do? They want to play. You ask Joseph, you ask Ricardo, all they want to do is to play. Okay? If you want them to make progress and learn things, they have to make sacrifices, don't they? Dạy con nít muốn nó tiến bộ, bắt nó học thì bắt nó phải bớt chơi và bắt nó bỏ thì giờ đi học. Thì bắt nó phải, mình nó dạy nó là phải hy sinh, right? You need to make the proper sacrifices, the right kind of sacrifices in order to learn, in order to progress. Okay? Thì dạy con cái giáo dục là vậy. Phải dạy nó biết cái sự hy sinh để mà phát triển cái tâm, phát triển cái trí. Right? Same principle. Okay? If you want to make progress, you have to let go of what's holding you back. Ta nói cái khác, ta nhắc lại, muốn nó tiến bộ thì mình phải giúp nó, muốn người tiến bộ phải giúp người ta xả bỏ những cái mà nó giữ chân người ta, cầm chân người ta lại. Okay? And that's what I feel what education is about. Now, I don't know you agree or disagree with me. Those of you who are professional educators, okay? Everything you do, you train people, don't you? That's a form of education, okay? Teach children is a form of training. So, isn't that what it's about? Is that we need to convince them that they need to drop things. Drop unnecessary things. Drop the luggage that they don't need for them to continue the journey. Thành mình dạy nền giáo dục, tất cả ai cũng vậy, dạy con cái hoặc là dạy huấn luyện người khác đều phải phải giúp người ta xả bỏ những cái mà không cần thiết, những cái hành lý không cần thiết để mà đi xa hơn, để mà tiến bộ. Okay? Yeah. So similarly, the spiritual practice like meditation, is designed to train your mind for you to have more control over your mind. Cái thiền một cái phương pháp luyện để mà cho quý vị có nhiều cái tự chủ hơn. Okay? It's a form of practice that will free you from your mental constraints. Thiền là một cái phương pháp để giúp quý vị thoát được những cái luẩn quẩn của cái tâm. Okay? And the way the non-Buddhist practices train you is by saying, you have to drop this in order for you to get that. Right? If you want spiritual power, the Taoist says, in order for you to get spiritual power, for you to be stronger and and have the ability to break bricks and so on. You have to make personal sacrifices to train yourself to do certain. You have to do certain special practices to do that in order to develop those skills. So the principle is based on letting go and making investment, making sacrifices, and be prepared to pay the price in order to develop those skills. Okay, those are the proper thing to do. In Buddhism, meditation, Pan meditation, is a lot more direct. Okay, cái phương pháp thiền chúng ta luyện nó rõ, nó thẳng hơn. We train you by pointing out to you your attachments. Cái thiền tông dạy quý vị bằng cách giúp quý vị tiến bộ bằng cách là nêu ra những cái chấp trước của quý vị. It's your attachments that prevent you from making further progress. Chính những cái chấp trước đó mà khiến quý vị không chịu tiến bộ tới. One of the biggest attachment is the comfort. Okay. Một trong những cái chấp trước mà nặng nề nhất là cái thoải mái của cơ thể. It's a form of attachment and so pervasive that you will be facing with a long time, your entire life, entire child practice. Cái chấp trước về cái thoải mái cơ thể là một cái mà quý vị sẽ cần phải đương đầu với rất là lâu. Okay? Because I have to admit to you, after 20 years of child practice, là chính bản thân thầy sau 20 năm tu thiền rồi, I'm still very attached to my personal comfort. Thầy vẫn còn thấy mình còn chấp trước về cái sự thoải mái của cái cơ thể. Okay? I still complain when the back hurts a little bit and the leg hurts a little bit. Thầy vẫn khó chịu. Okay, and it's maybe funny to you. Maybe you say, maybe what am I doing here? Learning from a guy who still haven't mastered it yet. Quý vị có thể nói nếu ông thầy mà chưa có tự chủ như vậy, sao mà dạy chúng tôi được? It's called karmic retribution. Cái đó gọi là cái nghiệp báo. It doesn't matter which level you are. Okay. The attachment to personal comfort in Buddhism is recognized, is explained as retribution, karmic retribution. Okay. Cái bên Phật giáo chúng ta dạng nghĩa bằng cái sự mà chấp trước cái vị về cái thoải mái cơ thể đó, cái khó chịu khi mà cơ thể nó không được thoải mái đó là cái nghiệp báo. Okay. Bất cứ trình độ nào mình đều phải chịu đựng cái nghiệp báo ấy. It's never ending. At all levels. Okay? You will always have to undergo the karmic retribution. Tất cả mọi trình độ quý vị, chúng ta đều phải nhận chịu cái nghiệp báo hết. Okay? You can hide your head against under the sand you wish, but you will not be able to avoid it. Okay? Quý vị có thể trốn tránh nó, nhưng để quý vị sẽ không bao giờ thoát nó được, tại vì cái đó là cái nghiệp báo của cơ thể chúng ta. As long you have a body, there's always a karmic retribution coming at you through your body. Có cái thân thể này là quý vị phải chịu cái nghiệp báo của nó qua cái thân thể này. Okay? In fact, the Buddha says, we all get our body for the primary purpose of, one of the major purposes of getting this human body is to undergo the retribution. Đức Phật nói, mình có cái thân này để mà trả cái nợ. Okay? And the karmic retribution manifests in the form of illness. Cái nghiệp báo nó thể hiện ra qua cái bệnh. Illness to your body. Okay? So You undergo the karmic retribution by being sick, by your body being sick. Tại cái nghiệp báo là cái mà quý vị sẽ trả bằng cách cái cơ thể mình bị bệnh. Okay? All of us will be sick during our lifetime. Tất cả mọi người đều bị bệnh. Am I correct? You know anyone who's healthy in their entire lives? They may claim they're healthy, but eventually they die, and that's the ultimate illness. Okay? Death. It's inevitable. Ai cũng bị bệnh, cuối cùng bệnh cuối cùng mà lớn nhất là cái bệnh của cái chết. Okay? So you undergo retribution by being sick. Thành cái vì trả nghiệp báo bằng cách là bị bệnh. What's another way? Another way is to meditate and endure the leg pains and the back pains. That is undergoing your illness retribution. Một cách khác là cái vì ngồi thiền để nhận cái đau của chân, đau của cái lưng. Cái đó là mình đang trả nghiệp báo. By undergoing your retribution through meditation, enduring your leg pains and the back pains, you actually are paying off your karmic debts and therefore you become healthier. Quý vị ngồi nhận cái đau như vậy thì quý vị đang trả cái nghiệp báo của cái bệnh. Thì tự động quý vị trả xong thì mình sẽ bớt bệnh. You become healthier because you paid off the debts, not because you run away from it. Là quý vị khỏe mạnh hơn là tại vì quý vị trả cái nghiệp báo, chứ không phải quý vị trốn cái nợ. Okay? Questions or comments? Ai kiến thắc mắc gì không? Okay? So, yes.
You talk about the luggage that we carry and trying to not have so much luggage so we can progress.
Right.
And I hear you when you say diminishing the ego helps us progress.
Yes.
My question is, what is progress? Because we each have individual goals that I'm sure our ego is helping us define.
Right.
But what is progress outside of that?
Okay. Good question. Ông hỏi là nếu như mình nói là tiến bộ phải cần bỏ cái bớt ngã, thì ngã là cái mà nó quyết định cái tiến bộ là cái gì. Thì mà sao mà mình biết mình tiến bộ là không tiến bộ? Mình thực sự tiến bộ là cái gì? What is progress? Hello, what is progress? What is progress to you?
It's advancing the meditation levels and concentration levels.
Yes.
Tức là mình bớt ham muốn dành cái gì có lợi cho người khác, như rồi cái gì tham rồi mình giận. Luôn luôn tham cho nó. Bây giờ mình ngồi đây mình làm tiến bộ mấy cái nó luôn nó let go rất là dễ.
Okay. Very good. These people understand. Okay, very good. What is progress? Progress in Chan is very clearly defined. Cái thiền tông á, trong tiến bộ thiền tông rất rõ ràng. Samadhi power. That's progress. Cái thiền tông á, tiến bộ trong thiền tông là cái định lực. If you are at this concentration level, you make progress by moving to the next level. It's very simple. You can write volumes about it, but it's not beyond that. Quý vị có thể nói tiến bộ trong Phật giáo, có thể trên thiền tông có thể nói là đủ thứ hết, nhưng điều cuối cùng nó không ngoài cái sự tăng trưởng của định lực. Okay? Yes.
Master, is there one thing having samadhi power, and another thing is having being able to progress within the samadhi power?
Yes. It's two different. You're trying to ask that you are in samadhi and versus you increasing samadhi level. That's what you're trying to get at, right? Yes, in general, yes. The more you learn, the more skilled you are, the more often you are in samadhi. Okay? But on the other hand, you want to increase your samadhi power because there's some clear advantages to having higher level of samadhi powers. Tại sao mình muốn tiến bộ cái định lực mới lên làm cái gì? Because the more you can increase your concentration power, okay? The closer you are to getting what you want. Okay? Any questions? Any other questions? Yes.
When you find karmic retribution.
What is that? Right? What is karmic retribution? Good question. Câu hỏi là nghiệp báo là cái gì? Karmic retributions are there is two words, karmic and retribution. Cái nghiệp báo, có hai chữ nghiệp và báo. What is karmic? Karmic meaning that you did something in the past. Nghiệp có nghĩa là quý vị đã tạo cái việc quý vị đã làm trong quá khứ. You did it already. You did something. Okay? Quý vị tạo cái nghiệp. What did you do? You saw a cockroach and then you stepped on it. You chase after it and you step on it. Quý vị thấy con gián và cái rượt nó và dập cho nó chết. Right? That's creating karmas. When you create karmas like that, usually the karmic retribution we're talking about involve the killing karmas. Cái nghiệp báo mà thường quý vị phải đương đầu nhiều nhất là cái loài sát. Cái nghiệp sát. Okay? What happens is that one of the most common forms of karmic the karmas that we create are killing karmas. Những cái nghiệp báo chúng ta thường tạo ra rất nhiều là cái nghiệp sát. And when you kill someone, you terminate a living being's. We end that living being's life prematurely. At the same time, you inflict pain upon them. Right? Quý vị giết một chúng sanh là quý vị đang tạo cái sự đau đớn cho nó và quý vị làm cái màng sống nó ngắn lại. Am I correct? You're doing two things. Pain and shorten their lives. Right? Mình tạo nghiệp, cái nghiệp đó là nghiệp gì? Mình cắt đoạn cuộc đời của nó và tạo cái đau đớn cho nó. Because of that, because that action, that force, there's a reaction. Okay? That's called retribution. Một khi quý vị tạo cái nghiệp như vậy đó, thì có một cái sự phản ứng. Okay? Meaning in the future, your retribution, you also have to undergo pain and the shortening of your life. That's what's called retribution. Cái quả báo là sao? Là trong tương lai quý vị cũng phải chịu cái đau và chịu cái màng sống quý vị nó ngắn lại. This is why in the Buddhist, one of the first things we teach our Buddhist followers is to minimize your killing karmas. Because it will come back and haunt you lifetime after lifetime until it's resolved. Thành ra người Phật tử thường được dạy là tránh tạo cái nghiệp sát sinh. Tại cái nghiệp sát sinh này nó tạo với quả báo, nó rượt theo quý vị đời kiếp cho tới khi nó được giải quyết. I repeat for your sake. According to Buddha's teaching, based on his wisdom, he says that if you create killing karmas, you will have to undergo the retribution, okay, in the future. Okay, so maybe they're going to come back and get you one lifetime, or it's not done yet. They come back and pursue you in another lifetime, and so on until it gets resolved. That's what a retribution is about. Okay? You create a blood debt, and that has to be resolved later. All right? That's what a karmic retribution is about. So usually when you are sick, it's because of your killing karma, from your prior killing karma. Chẳng hạn như nói một cách trắng trợn hơn, quý vị đang bị bệnh là tại vì quý vị đã tạo cái nghiệp sát trong quá khứ rồi. So now you endure pain, suffering, and your life is shortened. See that? See the parallel? Bây giờ chẳng hạn như bây giờ quý vị bị tạo cái nghiệp sát, bây giờ quý vị bị bệnh, thành ra quý vị bị đau đớn và quý vị mạng sống quý vị nó cụt lại. Yes.
You did say that through enduring the pain, the leg pain and meditation, that's one way to fix
Yes.
retribution.
That's one way, a very effective way to resolve the karmic retribution. Okay. Thành ra lúc quý vị thiền, quý vị nhận cái đau, đó là quý vị đang giải cái nghiệp báo của mình. Nó rất là hữu hiệu. What are you doing? You are intentionally enduring the pain. So you are creating a payback. Okay? Thứ nhất là quý vị đang nhận cái đau, là quý vị đang chịu đựng cái đau. Okay? Quý vị đang trả lại cái nợ đau đó. Okay? Also, another thing that happens, yes.
So, but I don't know what karmic debts I'm paying from my past lives.
Mm-hmm.
Then just a way to sort of clear that karmic or clear the debt, I then meditate and endure the pain.
Right.
Just because I'm not sure what I'm
Sounds good, doesn't it? Huh? Isn't that cool? You just endure the leg pains and you say, I don't care. Whatever I owe you, I'm paying you back. Isn't that good enough? Or you need to know, oh, I owe Peter, and I owe John, I owe Ray, and and make sure I pay Ray so much only, and Peter, I don't trust him that much, I don't know, I'm not sure that, I owe him that much, that kind of thing, right? No, we don't care. The law of retribution is that it doesn't matter. Whatever you owe them, you have to pay them back. As soon as you pay them back, they cannot harass you anymore. They can only harass you, they can only hurt you because you owe them. If you don't owe them, they cannot do anything to you. Okay? For example, I'll give you an example. We might find it funny. Someone comes to you and says, "You're so ugly." Okay? You get so upset, right? Won't you? Someone comes to you and insults you. Okay? You get very upset. Ai tới ta mắng mình câu mình giận nhé sợ. Why do you think you're upset? Because you insulted someone in the past. That's why. You made someone upset in the past. Now someone comes to you and insults you, you get upset. That's called retribution. On the other hand, you notice sometimes people come to you and say, "You're ugly," and it doesn't bother you at all, right? Why is that? You don't owe them. They cannot get you upset. That's called no karmic retribution. You don't owe them. Okay? So that's the beautiful thing about enduring the leg pains is the paying off your killing karma, your karmic debt is that. Okay? It doesn't matter. Your leg pains, okay? The beautiful thing about the Chan training is that you endure the leg pains, it will heal you. It's a very effective form of paying back your killing debts, your killing karmic retributions. You see, if you run away from it, you say, I don't want to endure the leg pains. This is nonsense, okay? Your illness is still there. You have to pay it off another way. Paying for your medicine, go see a doctor, take time off work, okay? All those are losses, all those are pains you have to incur. And you are in control when you meditate every day, because you pay it off every day, bit by bit, bit by bit. Every time you endure the leg pain, you're reducing your karmic debts. That's why every time you endure the leg pains, your body becomes healthier. No two ways about it. Thành ra mỗi ngày quý vị mình thiền như vậy thì quý vị nhận cái đau thêm một tí mỗi ngày, quý vị trả thêm một nợ, thì cái cơ thể quý vị tự động nó khỏe hơn. Isn't it beautiful? That's why once I understood that, I said, if I want to teach meditation at all, I'm going to teach you the real stuff, the thing that's useful to you. Not tell you about, you're going to have special skills and you'll be a superior person and so on. And those are small gains. They will not resolve will not bring you the big picture. Okay? Yes?
Master, another book I read before coming to your temple was Master Chinkan.
Mm-hmm.
The world is already a very polluted place.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can do is try and save the world. So, if I am paying off my karmic retribution and experiencing less pain,
Mm-hmm.
so that I'm even with everyone around me, let's say, how can I help save the world? What can I do that's positive as opposed to just even?
Hỏi là Ngài Tịnh Không Ngài nói là cái sự thế giới này nó quá hư hỏng, mình phải cố gắng làm để mình cứu thế giới này. I don't know how to answer that. Thầy không biết sao trả lời được, because that's his teaching. I don't teach you to save the world. I don't know how to save the world, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm a small time monk. You see how big my temple is? It's a dinky little temple. And for me to say, I'm teaching you to save the world, it's too much. No, people would laugh their heads off, okay? I don't know how to save the world. So I don't know how to teach you how to save the world. So therefore I can't answer your question. Thầy nói là cái chùa thầy chút xíu mà thầy không biết gì hết, làm sao mà thầy dạy quý vị làm sao cứu được cái thế gian này. Thầy không dạy quý vị cứu thế gian này. I only teach you to save yourself from the world. Thầy chỉ dạy quý vị tự cứu mình thoát cái thế giới này thôi. That's my purpose. I'm not interested in teaching you how to save the world. Okay? Thầy không muốn dạy quý vị cứu thế gian này. Why not? You can't even save yourself. What are you doing talking so big that you try to save the world? Thầy thực tế, thầy nói là nếu quý vị tự cứu mình chưa được, sao đòi đi cứu người khác là chuyện nó vô lý lắm. What proof do I have that you cannot save yourself yet? Làm sao thầy chứng minh cho quý vị rằng là quý vị chưa có thể tự cứu được? What proof do I have for insulting you like that? Thầy có bằng cớ gì? What proof do I have? You can't even take your leg pains. You can't even save yourself from your own karmic retributions. What are you doing talking about saving the world? Quý vị cái chân đau mà chịu chưa nổi nữa, chưa chịu đựng nổi cái nghiệp báo của mình, có đòi đi cứu cái nghiệp báo người khác. You want to save the world, you have to take on their karmic retributions. You have to help them overcome the karmic retributions. You can't even overcome your own karmic retributions. What makes you think you know how to help others overcome the karmic retributions? Chính cái nghiệp báo mình chưa giải quyết được mà còn đòi giải quyết nghiệp báo người khác. Yes?
The question is, you mentioned to have a goal while we meditate.
Yes.
Meditation, that's what it is. What is that? Is it a personal goal or whatever we want to change within our personality?
It depends on which method. For Chan, I teach Chan, my goal is to help teach you the skills and the knowledge and lay the foundation for you to become enlightened. That's my goal. And some of you will drop off. Some of you say, Master, I'm not interested in enlightenment. Okay? I'm interested in whatever. Okay? And that's still within the realm of enlightenment, believe it or not. That's how vast Chan is. Okay? You want to get healthy, that's within the confines of Chan, the domain of Chan. Okay? But the biggest and most encompassing goal is called enlightenment. Okay? That includes everything you can think of. Yes?
Master, is it possible to die or at the time of death and have paid off all your karmic debt? Because if you're
Wouldn't that be nice? Oh my God. Have you figured out how to do that? I haven't.
I just want to know if anybody's ever, Buddha, has anybody ever done it to where they, not have to pay back?
Even the Buddha couldn't figure it out. Okay? Shall we say that we use these karmic retribution as conditions, as connections in order to resolve, to resolve and free ourselves from them. Okay, but the reason you cannot free yourself of all the karmic retributions because they're limitless, they're infinite. In Buddhism, there's a concept of beginningless time. Time to you begins at time zero, t0, right? In Buddhism, there's no such thing. It's beginningless. You go back here, it's still more. You go further and further, you cannot see the beginning of that. Now the artist is interested. No confines, my friend.
So enduring pain does not clear your debt, it just diminishes it? So there's nothing you can...
It clears the debts that are right now oppressing you and preventing you from clearing your head and getting what you want right now. Okay? The illness and the pains are only here to obstruct you and cloud your mind and makes you feel bad. So this Chan training here will help you transcend all those constraints. Does it make sense? Okay. So what happened is that the leg pains are only expedients, you will, to help you overcome your karmic obstructions. Okay. Now, this is what the Chan understanding is so interesting because it's boundless. There's no beginning of time. There's no end of time. It's infinite. Okay? You guys are so advanced. I didn't learn about this until like 10 years later, after I started learning Buddhism and Chan. Then I began to understand the concept of beginningless and endless time. Okay? The reason you have an awareness beginning and ending is because of your mind limitation. You practice Chan, the Chan will free you from those mental self-limitations. Okay? The people in world people use the term to think outside of the box. Okay? Người ta có cái câu là nghĩ ra ngoài cái ngoại lệ. What is that box? What is that box? Your mind, right? Your mind says, this is it. This is a constraint. This is all I know. And Chan says, there's more. Let go. Then you see your limitations have been extended. Okay? Your domain has been widened. And that's what Chan does. At all levels, all Chan level, Samadhi level, you are boxing yourself in. So progress means that you increase Samadhi power, and Samadhi power increase means that you are able to reach higher realms, meaning your mind is expanded. And along that process, it's your leg pain, your illness, are the factors that limit your progress. You see the parallel. So if you endure the leg pains, if you endure the discomfort, you're laying a foundation for your progress and your escape. Isn't that beautiful? Why did we talk to you about greed? You meditate, and therefore you have special skills. You can see this, you can hear that, and you can fly, and all those things. Okay? Those are minor goals, minor side benefits. Okay? That will come to you naturally. There's no need to be greedy for those. So the fundamental in Chan is to free yourself from your limitations. Then you get everything you want. That's why Chan is so much more powerful and so much more effective form of training. Okay? Thì đâu cần tham lam là cái gì? Cái tham lam là cái kẹt của quý vị. Nếu quý vị bớt tham lam thì quý vị sẽ nới rộng cái tâm mình, tâm tư quý vị, thì quý vị sẽ tiến bộ xa hơn. Okay? So going back to the question, he wants to save the world. He subscribed to the principles, and I say, sounds good, but I don't buy it. Okay, I don't believe you can save the world. Okay, I don't believe that it is possible to save the world unless you know how to save yourself first. Thầy nói cái chuyện cứu thế gian này, thầy cái đó nó cao thượng, rất là tốt. Nhưng mà thầy không tin có thể làm được. Thầy tin rằng cái vị phải cần muốn cứu thế gian, cứu thế giới, cái vị trước tiên biết cái cách để tự cứu mình trước cái đó. Okay? In Buddhism, to me, as a Buddhist teacher, đối với một cái vị thầy dạy về Phật giáo, it goes against my principles, my Buddhist principles. Nó đi ngược lại cái sự hiểu biết của Phật giáo mà thầy thấy. Okay? You don't look outside. You don't look at saving the world. You don't look at saving your children. You don't look at saving your students. You don't look at saving your mother and your father. Okay? You cannot do that. You save yourself first. You save yourself. How do you save yourself? Đừng nhìn ở ngoài, phải nhìn vào trong trước. You save yourself from freeing yourself from your own limitations. Quý vị tự cứu mình bằng cách là xả những cái sự mà hạn chế của mình. Once you're able to free yourself from your own limitations, then you can learn to do the same thing for others. Quý vị phải biết hiểu cái cách mà từ giải thoát thì quý vị mới có thể giúp người ta đắc giải thoát được. What are your limitations? You're limited by three things. Quý vị bị kẹt ba cái greed, anger and stupidity. Quý vị bị kẹt ba cái vấn đề là tham, sân và si. Agree? Anyone free from greed, hatred, stupidity? Raise your hands. Ai đã không còn tham sân si? See? I rest my case. You still have greed, still have anger, right? You still have stupid thoughts. You're not free yet. What are you doing trying to help people to be free of the greed, anger, and stupidity? You don't know what to do you? That's why I don't subscribe to those thoughts, that lofty principles. Okay. Thầy nói đi cứu thế gian mà không cứu mình được thì cái đó nó vô lý. Okay? It turns out, once you figure out how to save yourself, khi mà quý vị biết tự cứu mình rồi, you know, there's a secret behind it. Once you figure out, know how to save yourself, then you can save the world. That's a secret. Một khi quý vị biết tự cứu mình rồi thì lúc đó quý vị sẽ biết cứu thế gian này. You know why? Because you are one and the same as others. Tại vì theo Phật giáo, quý vị với tất cả chúng sanh là đồng thể. You see, the Buddhist principle, there's something called the same substance. We are all the same. We all belong to this big organism called the Buddha nature. We're all the same. Okay? Once you figure out who you are and what you do to transcend your own limitation, you understand the entire picture as well. Okay? But that's way beyond Chan. Okay? So way beyond this class. I cannot teach you that yet. Until you graduate from this first class, it's called the 9 Samadhi. Once you reach 9 Samadhi, I show you how to go further. But this class here, let me look. No, you're not there yet. You're not at 9th yet, okay? It's too premature to talk about saving the world. Yes?
This is not a question, but I'm just thinking, my simple way of thinking is like, if you improve so that you can then save others, save yourself first so that you can save others, I think that's a way to improve outside of the ego, because usually when I try to improve, it's driven by ego.
Yes.
I'm a better meditator.
Right.
But if you do that to save others.
Good point. That is, I think that you all are coming, are arriving at the same, alluding to the same thing. There's an ego there, and the ego drives us, everything we do, right? So how do we know that we're making progress and we go in that direction? When you make progress, okay, when your samadhi power increases, okay, then your ego is diminished accordingly. It is less greedy, less angry, and less stupid. Okay, mỗi lần tiến bộ quý vị bớt tham sân si. Okay? The important thing is there, remember, the important thing is having the big picture. The non-Buddhist practices, they said, your goal is a quiet thing, right? You'll be more powerful, you'll have more money, you'll be richer, right? The Buddhist goal is not to be greedy for those. How can you not be greedy for those? Cái ngoài đạo dạy cái gì là nên có thần thông, nên có tiền, nên có địa vị, nên có sự cái lợi. Phật giáo mà nói không cần. Thì hỏi làm sao mình không tham những cái đó? How can you not be greedy? How can you not be angry? How can you not be stupid? It's a very simple principle. Rất giản dị. If you are a millionaire, chẳng quý vị là triệu phú, right? I come to you and say, hey, if you do this for me, I give you $10. If you cross your legs for me and do your leg pains, I give you $10. Would you do it? Hell no. I'm a millionaire. What are you talking about? Got to be more than that for me. Right? You get it? You are less greedy because you have so much more. It's much harder to tempt you. Make sense? Quý vị bớt tham lam, tại quý vị có nhiều, quý vị giàu, quý vị bớt tham lam được chứ. Does it make sense to you? We're not talking stupidity here. How can you not be greedy? You're not greedy as long as you don't have, you're still greedy for it. Aren't you? Agree or disagree? You cannot tell me that don't be greedy for food when I'm so hungry here. Okay? It's nonsense. By the way, it's lunchtime. Okay? Does it make sense to you? You can not be greedy until you have so much more that can no longer tempt you. So to encourage you to progress by dangling a carrot in front of you is not a very good form of teaching to us. You see that? The better form of teaching is for us to tell you, to train you to be less greedy in the process of being less greedy, you're so blessed, you have so much more than they can tempt you.
So you train us to not want the carrot.
Naturally, inside, let me tell you a little secret about lack of greed, lack of anger. It's because you have so much more than they can tempt you. That you are so much bigger, so much more lofty, so much more virtuous, so much kinder that they cannot make you angry anymore. It's not BS. It's how you feel inside. Okay? That's what it's in Buddhism called liberation. It's true wealth. You're only truly wealthy until you can give it away. Ask Bill Gates. Ask Warren Buffett. They're so wealthy that I can give it away now. I can't do it yet because I'm still struggling so much. You see that? And that's the principle behind it all. You can only become less greedy because you have so much more than before. Your mind is greedy because I can see so much only. And now you realize you can have so much more. You have so much more than you realize. Then you become naturally less greedy. Does it help? All right. Thank you. Let's go to lunch. I'm a little bit greedy for food.